The lunch rush at Lombardi's hits like a wave every day at noon, and today is no different. My hands move automatically, muscle memory taking over as I balance 3 plates along my left arm, while my right hand steadies a 4th. The weight presses into my skin, leaving red marks that will fade by evening, unlike the bruises that took weeks to disappear after I finally left. 6 months. That's how long it's been since I walked out of that apartment with nothing but a duffel bag and the clothes on my back. 6 months of sleeping on my friend Maya's couch, saving every tip, every dollar, rebuilding a life I thought was destroyed. The lunch crowd doesn't care about any of that. They just want their chicken parmesan delivered hot, and their water glasses refilled before they have to ask. Sophie, table 9 needs more bread. Marco calls from behind the bar, his voice carrying over the din of conversation and clinking silverware. I nod, delivering the plates to a group of businesswomen who barely glance at me before continuing their conversation about quarterly reports and market projections. I used to have conversations like that. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Before I dropped out of college to work full-time when things got bad, before the isolation started, before I believed the voice telling me I was too stupid to make it on my own. The thought makes my chest tighten, so I push it away and head back to the kitchen. Lombardi's is a good restaurant, the kind of place where Chicago's professionals come for authentic Italian food in the heart of River North. The exposed brick walls and dim Edison bulbs create an atmosphere that's both rustic and sophisticated. More importantly, the tips are decent, and Marco doesn't ask questions about why I flinch when men raise their voices, or why I never list an emergency contact on my employment forms. I'm refilling the breadbasket for table 9 when the front door opens, letting in a gust of February air that raises goosebumps on my arms despite the long-sleeved black shirt that's part of my uniform. I don't look up immediately, focused on arranging the focaccia just so, but I feel it. A shift in the room's energy, like the air pressure changing before a storm. The usual lunch chatter doesn't quiet completely, but it softens, becomes more careful. I glance toward the entrance and understand why. 3 men stand in the doorway. The 2 flanking the center figure are clearly security, broad-shouldered in dark suits, their eyes scanning the restaurant with professional efficiency. But it's the man in the middle who commands attention without seeming to try. Tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair styled with precise casualness. His charcoal suit probably costs more than I make in 3 months, fitted perfectly to broad shoulders that taper to a lean waist. He's younger than I expected, mid-30s maybe, with the kind of face that would be handsome in any context but becomes arresting when paired with the intensity in his dark eyes. Those eyes sweep the restaurant once, cataloging exits and occupants in a way that makes me think of predators assessing territory. Then Marco is there, greeting them with a deference I've never seen from him before, gesturing toward the private corner booth in the back, the one we keep reserved for special occasions or, apparently, special guests. "Who is that?" I whisper to Jen, one of the other servers, as she passes with a tray of drinks. Her eyes widen. "You don't know? That's Dante Moretti. The name means nothing to me, and it must show on my face because she leans closer, lowering her voice even more. The Morettis own half the restaurants in this neighborhood. And when I say own, I don't mean they're food critics. Understanding clicks into place, followed immediately by a spike of anxiety. In the 6 months I've worked here, I've heard whispers, caught fragments of conversations that stop when I get too close. Chicago has families that run in different circles than the law allows. Everyone knows that. I just never expected to serve them lunch. "Sophie." Marco's voice cuts through my thoughts, sharp with urgency. "You're taking table 12. I want to refuse, want to trade with literally anyone else. But I can't afford to lose this job, and the look on Marco's face says refusal isn't an option. So I smooth down my apron, grab a menu and water pitcher, and make my way toward the corner booth. Each step feels heavier than the last. My training in being invisible, in making myself small and unthreatening, wars with the professional requirement to be present and attentive. By the time I reach the table, my heart is hammering against my ribs hard enough that I'm sure he can hear it. The 2 security men have positioned themselves at a nearby table, with clear sightlines to both the entrance and their boss. Dante Moretti sits alone in the booth, jacket unbuttoned, one arm stretched along the back of the seat in a pose that manages to be both relaxed and alert. Up close, he's even more striking. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw with a shadow of stubble that looks intentional, and those eyes. dark as espresso, currently fixed on me with an intensity that makes my breath catch. "Good afternoon, sir." My voice comes out steadier than I feel. "Welcome to Lombardi's. Can I start you with something to drink?" He doesn't respond immediately. Instead, he studies me with open curiosity, his gaze traveling from my face down to the hands clutching the menu and water pitcher, then back up again. Not leering, exactly, but assessing, taking inventory. When his eyes meet mine again, something in his expression shifts, softens almost imperceptibly. "Water's fine for now." His voice is surprisingly warm, rich like aged whiskey, with only the faintest trace of a Chicago accent smoothed by years of practice. "What's your name?" "Sophie." I set the water glass down carefully, grateful my hands don't shake. "Have you been to Lombardi's before? I can recommend some menu items if you'd like." "First time?" he says, picking up the menu. He looks at it for a moment, and I'm about to launch into my practiced description of the daily specials when he sets it back down. "Actually, I have a problem. Can you help me with something?" The shift in his tone, from formal to almost conversational, catches me off guard. "Of course, sir. What do you need?" He gestures at the menu with what looks like mild embarrassment, though something in his eyes suggests calculation beneath the surface. "I left my reading glasses at the office, and these menus always have such small print. Would you mind reading me what you have? The specials, maybe?" For a split second, I freeze. The request is unusual, but not unheard of. Plenty of customers forget their glasses, ask for help with small print, need descriptions read aloud. But something about the way he's watching me, the careful neutrality of his expression, makes me think this is more than a simple request. The menu print isn't particularly small, and something about the precise way he's folded his hands on the table, the way he's not quite meeting my eyes now, triggers a recognition I can't name. I think about the university classes I never finished, the degree I'll probably never complete. I think about the voice that told me I was too stupid to amount to anything, that reading all those books was a waste of time, that I should just give up and accept my place. I think about shame, and how it settles into your bones when people make you feel small for not knowing things, for needing help, for being somehow less than. Whatever test this is, whatever he's looking for in my reaction, I know instinctively that mockery or judgment would be the wrong answer. Not just because he's clearly someone important, someone dangerous even, but because I know what it feels like to be made to feel stupid, and I won't do that to anyone else. "Of course," I say, my voice gentle but matter-of-fact, as if this is the most normal request in the world. I pick up the menu, position myself slightly to the side so he can see the items I'm pointing to if he wants, and begin. "So our lunch specials today include the wild mushroom risotto with truffle oil and parmesan. That's one of my personal favorites. We also have osso buco, which is braised veal shank with gremolata and saffron risotto. The chef does an incredible job with that. The meat literally falls off the bone." I continue through the specials, then move to the regular menu items, describing each dish with the kind of detail I'd want if I couldn't read the menu myself. Not condescending, not rushed, just informative and warm. I describe the textures, the flavor profiles, which dishes are lighter versus heavier. I point to each item as I read it, in case he wants to follow along. Through it all, I'm aware of his gaze on my face, not on the menu, on me, watching my expression, listening to my tone, measuring something I can't quite identify. When I finish, I look up and find him studying me with an expression I can't read. Something warmer than curiosity, deeper than surprise. One corner of his mouth lifts in what might be the beginning of a smile. "Thank you," he says, and the words carry weight beyond simple gratitude. "That was very thorough. You said the risotto was your favorite?" "Yes, sir. The mushrooms are sourced locally, and the truffle oil is the real thing, not synthetic. It's rich without being heavy. I'll have that then." He pauses, then adds, "And Sophie, you can call me Dante." No need for sir. The use of my name, the permission to use his, feels like something shifting between us. Something being offered that I don't fully understand yet. "The risotto for you then, Dante. Any appetizers or salads to start?" "What would you suggest?" "Another test, maybe, or perhaps genuine interest. The burrata is excellent. It comes with heirloom tomatoes, basil, and their house-made focaccia. It's simple but real, showcases the quality of the ingredients." "Perfect. I'll have that as well." I write down his order, aware that this interaction has lasted longer than most lunch orders should. That his security team is watching us with expressions I can't quite decipher. That Marco is probably having a minor panic attack from his position behind the bar. "I'll get that started for you right away," I say, moving to collect the menu. His hand moves, not touching me but close enough that I feel the warmth of his skin. "One more thing, Sophie. How long have you worked here?" The question seems innocuous enough, but I've learned to be careful about sharing personal information. "About 6 months," I answer, keeping my tone light and professional. "And before that? Now I know I'm being evaluated, though for what purpose I can't guess." "I was in school, at Northwestern. Taking some time off now." Something flickers in his eyes. Recognition, maybe, or understanding. "What were you studying?" "English literature." The words come out before I can stop them, carrying a weight of loss I didn't intend to reveal. I loved those classes. Loved losing myself in stories and analysis, the way words could build worlds. It was the one thing that was entirely mine, until it wasn't. "That's a beautiful field," he says quietly, and I have the strange sensation that he means it, that this isn't just polite conversation. "I hope you're able to finish someday." The unexpected kindness in his words catches me off guard, makes my throat tight. "Thank you. I'll go put in your order." I turn away before he can see the emotion in my face, before I can do something embarrassing like tear up in the middle of the lunch rush. As I walk back toward the kitchen, I feel his eyes on me the entire way. Marco intercepts me before I reach the computer to input the order. "What did he say?" "Did you do something wrong?" "No, nothing wrong. He just ordered the risotto and burrata." I keep my voice steady, professional. "Why? Would something be wrong?" "Because Dante Moretti doesn't just show up at restaurants in his territory for no reason." Marco hisses, glancing nervously toward table 12. "And he definitely doesn't have long conversations with servers. He asked me to read the menu because he forgot his glasses. That's all." But even as I say it, I know it's not all. Something happened at that table. Something I don't fully understand. The way he watched me, the specific questions he asked, the gentleness in his voice when he asked about my studies. It felt less like a customer interaction and more like an interview, or an assessment. The rest of his meal proceeds smoothly. I serve the burrata, then the risotto, refill his water, ask if he needs anything else. Each interaction is brief and professional, but each time I approach the table, I feel that same intensity in his gaze. Like he's trying to solve an equation and I'm the variable he can't quite figure out. When he's finished, I clear his plates and bring the check. He hands me a black credit card without looking at the total, which I've learned is the habit of people for whom money is no object. "The meal was excellent," he says as I process the payment. "Your recommendations were spot on. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We hope to see you again at Lombardi's. I think you will." He signs the receipt, then slides it toward me. I glance down automatically and my breath catches. The tip is $500 for a $40 lunch. My eyes snap up to his face, questions I can't ask crowding my throat. His expression remains neutral, giving nothing away. "That's your skills as a server," he says calmly, as if $500 is a reasonable tip. "You showed kindness and patience when you didn't have to. That deserves recognition." I open my mouth to protest, to say it's too much, but he's already standing, buttoning his jacket with efficient movements. His security team rises with him, moving to flank him as naturally as breathing. "Thank you for lunch, Sophie." He pauses, and for a moment his mask slips, revealing something intense and searching beneath. I hope Northwestern knows what they're missing. Then he's walking toward the door, his presence commanding attention even in departure. The restaurant seems to exhale collectively when he leaves, conversations resuming their normal volume, the tension dissipating like smoke. I stand there holding the receipt, my hands trembling slightly now that the adrenaline is fading. $500, that's half my rent. That's the difference between making my budget this month and falling short. That's safety I didn't have an hour ago. But it's the other thing he gave me that I can't stop thinking about. The way he responded when I read him the menu with patience instead of judgment. The way he asked about my studies with genuine interest. The way he looked at me like I mattered, like my kindness was worth something beyond the transaction. I don't know who Dante Moretti really is, beyond the whispers and warnings. But I know what it feels like to be tested, to be judged, to have people weigh your worth and find you wanting. And in that moment at table 12, I made a choice to see past whatever test he was giving me, to respond with the humanity I wish I'd been shown when I was at my lowest. I just don't know yet what that choice might cost me, or what it might bring into my life that I'm not prepared for. The lunch rush continues, and I push thoughts of dark eyes and unexpected kindness to the back of my mind. I have tables to serve, orders to take, tips to earn. I have a life to rebuild, one careful dollar at a time. But as the afternoon fades into evening shift preparations, I catch myself glancing at the corner booth, empty now but somehow still charged with the memory of his presence. Marco avoids me for the rest of the day, which is fine. I don't know what I'd say anyway. That night, as I'm counting out my tips in the dim, the light of Maya's kitchen while she sleeps, I hold that receipt in my hands and wonder what kind of man tests a stranger's kindness by pretending he can't read. What kind of man values that kindness enough to tip $500 for a $40 lunch? And most importantly, what kind of man looks at a waitress he just met like she's a puzzle he's determined to solve, like she might be the answer to a question he hasn't asked yet? I fold the receipt carefully and tuck it into my wallet, between the restraining order I keep with me always and the college ID I can't bring myself to throw away. 3 pieces of paper, 3 different versions of my life. The past I'm running from, the future I'm hoping for, and now this, an unexpected present that might be dangerous, might be nothing, might be everything. I won't know which until Dante Moretti walks back into Lombardi's, and something tells me it won't be long before he does. He comes back 3 days later. I'm in the middle of the dinner rush, that chaotic window between 7 and 9, when the restaurant is packed with couples and groups celebrating Friday night. My feet ache, my lower back protests every time I bend to deliver plates, and I've already had one table send back their pasta because it wasn't al dente enough. I'm thinking about nothing except getting through the next 2 hours when Marco appears at my elbow, his face pale. Table 12. Now. I don't need to ask who it is. The energy in the room has shifted again, that same electric charge that accompanied Dante's first visit. I smooth my apron, tuck a loose strand of hair behind my ear, and make my way to the corner booth. He's alone this time, no security visible, though I suspect they're somewhere nearby. He's dressed more casually than before, dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that does nothing to diminish his commanding presence. When he sees me approaching, something in his expression eases, as if he's been waiting specifically for me. Sophie. My name in his voice does something strange to my pulse. I was hoping you'd be working tonight. Welcome back to Lombardi's, I say, falling into professional routine because it's safer than acknowledging the flutter in my chest. Same situation with the glasses? A genuine smile crosses his face, transforming his features from handsome to devastating. No, actually. I can read the menu just fine tonight. He pauses, his eyes holding mine. I wanted to apologize for the other day. That wasn't fair to you. Of all the things I expected him to say, an apology wasn't among them. I don't understand. The test, he says quietly, asking you to read the menu. I wanted to see how you'd react, if you'd be patient or if you'd make me feel. He trails off, but I understand what he's not saying. Small, stupid, less than. You don't need to apologize. The words come out softer than I intend. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. His eyes darken with something I can't name. Most people don't see it that way, especially when they think someone is beneath them in some way. There's a story there, layers of hurt beneath the confident exterior. I recognize it because I carry my own. Well, I'm not most people. No, he agrees, his gaze intense. You're not. That's why I came back. I'd like to have dinner with you, Sophie, not as a customer. As someone who would very much like to get to know you better. My heart does something complicated in my chest. Equal parts excitement and terror. I'm working. I know. When's your shift end? 11. Then I'll wait. He says it like it's the simplest thing in the world, like waiting 4 hours in a restaurant for a server he barely knows is perfectly reasonable. Unless you don't want to, I won't push if you're not interested. I should say no. Every instinct born from the last few years screams at me to decline, to keep my distance, to not let another man into my carefully reconstructed life. But there's something in the way he's looking at me, a vulnerability beneath the confidence, that makes me pause. Why? The question escapes before I can stop it. Why me? He leans back, considering his words carefully. Because you saw past the test to the person underneath. Because you studied English literature and had to leave it behind, and I can hear in your voice how much that cost you. Because in a city full of people who want something from me, you just wanted to do your job with kindness. He pauses. And because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you for 3 days. The honesty in his words steals my breath. I'm acutely aware of the other diners around us, of Marco watching from behind the bar, of the way my hands are trembling slightly as I hold my order pad. Okay, I hear myself say. I'll have dinner with you after my shift. His smile returns, genuine and warm. Thank you. I'll have the osso buco tonight, while I wait. And Sophie? Take your time. I'm not going anywhere. The next 4 hours pass in a strange duality. I'm going through the motions of my job, taking orders and delivering food, but I'm hyper-aware of his presence in the corner booth. He doesn't watch me constantly, doesn't make it obvious, but I feel his attention like a physical touch. He orders coffee after his meal, then dessert, making himself comfortable as if waiting in a restaurant for half the night is something he does regularly. Around 10, Maya texts me, "You okay? Running late?" I stare at my phone, trying to figure out how to explain what's happening when I don't fully understand it myself. Finally, I type back, "Yeah, fine. Going to be later than usual. Don't wait up." Her response is immediate. "Be safe. Text me if you need anything." The care in those words makes my throat tight. Maya took me in when I had nowhere else to go, asked no questions when I showed up with bruises I tried to hide, let me sleep on her couch for 6 months without complaint. She's the sister I never had, and the thought of her worrying makes me want to text again, to explain. But how do I explain Dante Moretti when I don't understand what's happening myself? When 11 finally arrives and I've finished my closing duties, I find him still there, looking as fresh as he did when he arrived 4 hours ago. Marco has long since stopped hovering, though I can feel his anxiety from across the room. "Ready?" Dante asks, standing as I approach. "I need to change. Give me 5 minutes?" He nods, and I slip into the staff bathroom, trading my uniform for the jeans and sweater I wore to work. I catch my reflection in the mirror and pause. My hair is messy from being tied back all night, my face is free of makeup, and exhaustion shadows my eyes. This is me at my most ordinary, and suddenly I'm struck by the absurdity of the situation. What does a man like Dante Moretti want with someone like me? But I promised, so I take a breath, finger comb my hair into something more presentable, and head back out. He's waiting by the door, and when he sees me, something warm crosses his face. "You look beautiful." I almost laugh. "I look tired." "You look real." He corrects gently. "Come on, there's a place not far from here." The night air is sharp with February cold, making me pull my jacket tighter. Without asking, Dante shrugs out of his coat and drapes it over my shoulders. It's warm from his body heat and smells like expensive cologne and something uniquely him. "You'll freeze." I protest. "I'm fine. Chicago winters and I have an understanding." We walk in comfortable silence for 2 blocks, and I'm surprised when he leads me not to some exclusive restaurant but to a small, quiet diner with worn vinyl booths and checkered floors. The kind of place that serves breakfast 24 hours a day and where nobody looks twice at mismatched couples seeking late-night food. "This okay?" he asks, and I realize he's genuinely uncertain, wanting my approval. "It's perfect," I say, honestly. I've had enough of upscale restaurants for one day. We slide into a booth in the back, and a tired-looking waitress brings us menus and coffee without being asked. The normalcy of it, the ordinary humanity of sitting in a diner at midnight, makes everything feel less surreal. "So," Dante says, wrapping his hands around his coffee cup, "tell me about English literature. What drew you to it?" The question catches me off guard. Most people, when they learn about my abandoned degree, either express pity or quickly change the subject. But he's looking at me with genuine interest, like my answer actually matters. "Stories?" I say simply. "The way words can create entire worlds, make you feel things you've never felt, understand perspectives completely different from your own." I pause, surprised by how easily the words flow. When I was growing up, books were my escape. My parents fought constantly, and I'd hide in my room with whatever novel I could get from the library. Fiction taught me that there were bigger worlds out there, better possibilities than what I was living, and you wanted to study that. To understand how stories work. Yes, the word comes out heavy with loss. I wanted to teach, maybe, or write. Something that would let me live in that world of words and stories. "Why did you leave?" The question is gentle, but it cuts deep. I look down at my coffee, watching steam rise in delicate curls. I met someone my junior year. He seemed perfect at first. Charming, attentive, supportive. But slowly things changed. He started saying my classes were a waste of time, that I was neglecting him for books, that I was being selfish, pursuing something so impractical. Dante's expression doesn't change, but something hardens in his eyes. He isolated you. Yes. I'm surprised he understands so quickly. He convinced me to move in with him, said it would be easier if we lived together. Then he wanted me to cut back on classes, just to part-time, so I could work and help with rent. Then part-time became too much, and I should just take a semester off. And somewhere in there, I stopped being Sophie the student and became Sophie who couldn't do anything right. He hurt you. It's not a question. I nod, unable to say the words out loud. I finally left 6 months ago, packed a bag while he was at work, and never went back. But by then I'd withdrawn from school, lost my financial aid, couldn't afford to re-enroll. So here I am, serving risotto and trying to save enough to maybe, someday, finish what I started. Dante is quiet for a long moment, his jaw tight. When he speaks, his voice is carefully controlled. What's his name? Why? The question comes out sharper than I intend. Defensive. Because I want to know who hurt you. There's something dangerous in his tone. Something that reminds me that despite the kind eyes and patient demeanor, this is a man people fear. It doesn't matter. I have a restraining order. He can't contact me. Restraining orders are paper, Sophie. They don't stop someone determined enough. The truth in his words makes my blood run cold. I've tried not to think about it, tried to believe that the legal protection is enough. But late at night, when I'm alone on Maya's couch, I sometimes wonder if he's looking for me. If one day I'll turn around and he'll be there. Marcus Webb, I hear myself say. His name is Marcus Webb. Dante pulls out his phone and types something quickly. Within seconds, it buzzes with a response. He reads it, his expression darkening, then sets the phone down. He's been looking for you, he says quietly. My people just ran a search. He's been asking around, showing your photo, offering money for information about where you're living. The diner suddenly feels too small, too exposed. My hands start to shake, coffee sloshing dangerously in the cup. How do you know that? Because I have resources, Sophie, and because the moment you told me you were running from is something, I made it my business to know what. I should be angry at the invasion of privacy, at the presumption, but all I feel is fear, cold and visceral. I thought the restraining order would be enough. I thought if I just disappeared, he'd move on. Men like that don't move on. Dante reaches across the table, his hand covering mine. The touch is warm, steady, anchoring me when I feel like I'm floating away. They see you as something they own, and they don't let go easily. What am I supposed to do? The question comes out broken, desperate. I don't have money for better security. I can barely afford my share of rent. I can't just disappear again. No, he agrees, but you can let me help you. I pull my hand back, needing distance to think. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. I know enough. His voice is certain, unshakable. I know you're kind when you don't have to be. I know you're strong enough to leave a bad situation and rebuild your life from nothing. I know you deserve better than living in fear. He pauses, his eyes intense. And I know that from the moment you read me that menu with patience instead of judgment, I wanted to know everything about you. The confession hangs between us, raw and honest. I want to believe him, want to accept the protection he's offering, but I've learned the hard way that men who seem too good to be true usually are. What do you want in return? The question is blunt, bordering on rude, but I need to know. Nobody helps like this without wanting something. Instead of being offended, he nods as if approving of my caution. Smart question. What I want is time. Time to get to know you properly, without you constantly looking over your shoulder. Time to show you that not every man is like the one who hurt you. He leans forward. I won't lie to you, Sophie. I'm attracted to you. I want more than friendship. But I'm not going to demand that as payment for keeping you safe. Your safety isn't conditional on your affection. But you do want my affection, I say, needing to understand the parameters. I want a chance at it, yes. A real chance, where you're not afraid and desperate, where you can make a choice based on who I am, not what I can do for you. His honesty is disarming. If you decide I'm not what you want, I'll accept that. But I'll still make sure you're safe. It's too much, too fast. 3 days ago, I didn't know Dante Moretti existed. Now he's offering me protection from a threat I thought I'd escaped, asking for nothing but the possibility of something more between us. I need to think, I say finally. This is overwhelming. Of course. He signals the waitress, pays the bill despite my protest, and stands. Can I drive you home? I almost refuse, but the thought of taking the bus at this hour, of walking the dark blocks to Maya's apartment while knowing Marcus might be looking for me, makes me reconsider. Okay. His car is parked around the corner, a black SUV with tinted windows that screams money and security. He opens the passenger door for me, a gesture so old-fashioned it catches me off guard, then slides into the driver's seat. Where to? He asks. I give him Maya's address, and he pulls into traffic smoothly. The drive takes 15 minutes, and we spend it in silence that's more comfortable than it should be. When he pulls up outside the building, I reach for the door handle, then pause. Thank you, I say, for dinner, and for the information about Marcus, even though it terrifies me. You deserve to know what you're dealing with. He shifts in his seat to face me fully. Sophie, I meant what I said. Let me help you. My offer stands, no strings attached. I look at him in the dim light of the street lamps. This complicated man who tests strangers and tips $500, who apologizes for subterfuge and offers protection to waitresses he barely knows. There are 100 reasons to say no, to keep my distance, to not let another man into my life when I'm still healing from the last one. But there's something in his eyes, a loneliness that mirrors my own, a understanding of what it means to be judged and found wanting. And I'm so tired of being afraid. I'll think about it, I promise. Can I have some time? Take all the time you need. He pulls out his phone, types quickly, and mine buzzes in my pocket. That's my number. Call or text anytime for any reason, even if it's just to talk. I save the number, though I don't know if I'll use it. Good night, Dante. Good night, Sophie. Lock your doors. I climb the stairs to Maya's apartment, hyper-aware of every shadow, every sound. Inside, I find her asleep on the couch, her laptop still open beside her. She stayed up waiting despite her early shift at the hospital. The care in that gesture makes my eyes sting. I cover her with a blanket, close her laptop, and sink into the armchair that's been my bed for 6 months. My phone sits heavy in my pocket, Dante's number a possibility I'm not ready to examine. But as I finally drift off to sleep, it's not fear of Marcus that fills my thoughts. It's dark eyes and patient hands, $500 tips, and honest confessions in diners at midnight. It's the dangerous possibility that maybe, just maybe, I could let myself trust again. The next morning, I wake to 7 missed calls from a number I don't recognize, and a single text message. I know where you are, Sophie. Did you really think you could hide from me? We need to talk. My hands shake as I read it again, nausea rising in my throat. He found me. After 6 months of careful anonymity, of keeping my head down and staying invisible, Marcus found me. Maya is already gone. A note on the counter saying she got called in for an extra shift. I'm alone in the apartment, and suddenly every shadow feels threatening. Every sound from the hallway makes me jump. The walls that felt safe yesterday now feel like a trap. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. I think about Dante's offer, about his promise to help, no strings attached, about the way he looked at me when he said I deserved to be safe. My finger hovers over his contact for a long moment. Pride wars with fear, independence wars with desperation. But when another text comes through, I just want to talk, Sophie. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. The decision makes itself. I press call. He answers on the first ring. Sophie? He found me. My voice cracks on the words. Marcus. He's been texting, calling. He knows where I am. Are you alone? His voice sharpens, command entering his tone. Yes, Maya's at work. I'm sending someone to you right now. Don't open the door for anyone except a man named Vincent. He'll identify himself, show you his ID. Do you understand? Yes, but no buts. Vincent will be there in 10 minutes. Pack a bag with clothes and anything you need. You're not staying there, Sophie. Not when he knows where you are. The authoritative tone would normally set off alarm bells, but right now it's exactly what I need. Someone taking charge when I feel paralyzed by fear. Where am I going? Somewhere safe. his voice gentle slightly. "Somewhere I can protect you while we figure this out. Do you trust me?" It's a loaded question, and we both know it. I barely know him. He's involved in things I don't understand, operates in a world I've only heard whispers about. Every rational instinct says I should hang up, call the police, handle this through official channels. But I remember the way he looked at me when I read him the menu, the way he apologized for testing me, the way he said my safety wasn't conditional on my affection. And I think about Marcus's text, the barely veiled threat in those words, the knowledge that a restraining order is just paper against someone determined enough. "Yes," I hear myself say, "I trust you. Good girl. Vincent will be there soon. And Sophie, you made the right choice. I won't let him hurt you again." The call ends and I'm moving before I can second-guess myself. I throw clothes into my duffel bag, the same one I used when I left Marcus. My laptop, my books, the few possessions that matter. I'm zipping it shut when the knock comes at the door. "Sophie Winters?" A deep voice, professional. "My name is Vincent Russo. Mr. Moretti sent me." I'm holding my identification up to the peephole. I look through and see a broad-shouldered man in a dark suit, his ID clearly visible. The photo matches his face, and the name matches what Dante said. I unlock the door, keeping the chain on. "Mr. Moretti said to give you a message," Vincent says, his expression neutral but not unkind. "He said to tell you that in his world, protection means something, and that you won't have to be afraid anymore." I stare at this stranger on my doorstep, my bag heavy in my hand, my phone buzzing with another text from Marcus that I don't need to read to know what it says. I'm standing at a crossroads, about to step from one life into another, from independence into protection, from loneliness into something I don't have a name for yet. "Okay," I say, sliding the chain free. "I'm ready." Vincent takes my bag, gestures toward the stairs with professional efficiency. "Mr. Moretti is waiting for you. He wanted me to assure you that you're making the right decision." As I follow him down the stairs and into the waiting SUV, as we pull away from the only safe place I've known in 6 months, I think about choices and consequences, about tests passed and connections forged, about a man who pretended he couldn't read a menu and the waitress who chose kindness over judgment. I don't know where this road leads. Don't know if I'm being rescued or making a different kind of mistake. But as the car speeds through Chicago's morning traffic toward whatever comes next, I feel something I haven't felt in longer than I can remember. Hope. And underneath it, more dangerous than fear, more terrifying than Marcus's threats, the beginning of something that feels like it could be trust. Maybe even the first stirrings of something more. The drive takes us out of my familiar neighborhood and into Lincoln Park, where the houses grow larger and the streets cleaner with each passing block. Vincent doesn't speak, but his presence is oddly comforting. Professional, efficient, but not cold. When we finally pull through a gate that opens automatically, I get my first glimpse of where Dante Moretti lives. It's not the mansion I expected. Instead, it's a renovated brownstone, elegant but not ostentatious, with warm light glowing from the windows, the kind of place that speaks of old money and good taste rather than flashy displays of wealth. Vincent parks in the private garage and comes around to open my door. "Mr. Moretti is in his study," he says, taking my bag again. "Follow me, please." Inside, the house is beautiful in an understated way. Hardwood floors, exposed brick, built-in bookshelves filled with leather-bound volumes. It feels like a home rather than a showpiece, lived in and comfortable. Vincent leads me down a hallway to a door that's slightly ajar, then knocks twice. "Come in," Dante's voice, familiar now. Vincent opens the door, and I step into a room that takes my breath away. The study is 2 stories tall, with a library ladder providing access to the upper shelves. Books line every wall, thousands of them, organized with what looks like careful precision. A fire crackles in the fireplace, and Dante stands from behind a massive oak desk, his expression relieved. "Sophie." He crosses the room in 3 long strides. "Thank you, Vincent. That will be all." Vincent sets my bag down and disappears, closing the door behind him. Suddenly, I'm alone with Dante in this beautiful room, and the reality of what I've just done hits me. I left Maya's apartment, got into a car with a stranger, and came to the home of a man I met less than a week ago. "Are you okay?" Dante asks, studying my face with concern. "Did Marcus try to contact you again?" I pull out my phone, showing him the string of texts that came through during the drive. They start polite, almost pleading, but grow progressively darker. The last one, received just 5 minutes ago, makes my stomach turn. You can't hide forever. I always find what belongs to me. Dante's jaw tightens as he reads them, something dangerous flickering in his eyes. May I? He gestures to the phone. I hand it over, and he forwards the texts to his own number before giving it back. My tech people will trace these, see if we can pinpoint his location. In the meantime, you're safe here. He doesn't know where you are, and even if he did, he can't get through my security. The certainty in his voice should be reassuring, but I feel suddenly unmoored. I should have called the police. Updated the restraining order. This is probably illegal somehow. Me being here. The police will take your report and tell you to be careful. Dante says, his tone gentle but realistic. They won't provide round-the-clock protection for texts that don't constitute an explicit threat. And by the time they do act, it's usually too late. He moves closer, not touching but close enough that I can feel his warmth. I know this is scary, Sophie. I know you're trusting me with a lot, but I promise you, I will keep you safe. Why? The question bursts out, raw and desperate. Why do you care so much? You don't even know me. He's quiet for a long moment, his eyes searching mine. Then he gestures to the room around us, to the thousands of books lining the walls. Do you know what all of these are to me? I shake my head, confused by the change of subject. They're beautiful objects that I can't fully access. Museums I can visit but never truly experience. He runs a hand along the spine of a nearby book, his touch reverent and sad. I grew up poor, Sophie, South Side, single mother working 3 jobs to keep us fed. She tried to teach me to read, but we never had the time or the resources. She died when I was 12, and I went into the foster system. Got bounced around, never stayed anywhere long enough to get the help I needed. My heart clenches at the pain in his voice. Dante. By the time I was 15, I'd given up trying. It was easier to hide it, to develop workarounds, to let people think I was too cool for school rather than too stupid to pass. His laugh is bitter. I built an empire on street smarts and instinct, surrounded myself with people who could read and write for me, learned to hide my weakness so well that most people never suspect. He turns to face me fully, and I see vulnerability in his eyes that makes my chest ache. And then you walked up to my table, and I ran my usual test, the one I use to see if someone's worth my time, worth my trust. I pretend I forgot my glasses, and I watch how they react. Most people get impatient or condescending, or they make jokes at my expense without realizing what they're really mocking. But I didn't. I say softly, understanding dawning. No. You treated me with the same patience and respect you'd give anyone. You made it okay to need help. You didn't make me feel small. His hand lifts, fingers brushing my cheek in a touch so gentle it makes my eyes sting. Do you know how rare that is? How precious? I think about my own shame, about Marcus's voice telling me I was too stupid for college, that I'd never amount to anything. I think about how it feels to be made to feel less than, to have your struggles mocked instead of met with compassion. I understand, I whisper. More than you know. I know you do. That's why I came back to the restaurant. That's why I sat there for 4 hours waiting for your shift to end. That's why, when you called this morning, I didn't hesitate. He cups my face in both hands now, his touch warm and steady. You see me, Sophie. Not the reputation, not the money, not the dangerous man everyone fears. You see past all of that to something real underneath. And I want to do the same for you. Tears spill over before I can stop them, all the fear and stress and loneliness of the past 6 months breaking free. Dante pulls me against his chest, his arms wrapping around me, and I let myself cry. For the education I lost, for the woman I was before Marcus, for the terror of being hunted, for the strange and overwhelming relief of being held by someone who feels safe. I've got you, he murmurs against my hair. You're safe now. I promise. We stand like that for a long time, the fire crackling softly in the background, his heartbeat steady beneath my ear. When I finally pull back, embarrassed by my breakdown, he produces a handkerchief from his pocket and gently wipes my tears. I'm sorry, I manage. This is all just a lot. Don't apologize. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed. He guides me to a leather couch by the fire, settling beside me but maintaining a respectful distance. Let me show you something. He reaches for a book on the side table, a worn copy of The Great Gatsby. When he opens it, I see that the pages are filled with notes in different handwriting, some neat and precise, others hurried and sloppy. I hire people to read to me, he explains, to take notes, to summarize, to help me understand. This one is my favorite. I've had it read to me at least 10 times. I know the story by heart, can quote passages, understand the symbolism and themes. But I'll never be able to sit down and read it myself, to experience it the way you did when you studied it in school. The longing in his voice breaks something open inside me. I take the book from his hands, feeling the weight of it, the years of accumulated notes. You could learn, I say quietly. It's not too late. There are programs for adults, specialized teachers who understand. I've tried. He cuts me off gently. Multiple times over the years. Something in my brain just doesn't process letters the way it should. Dyslexia, they told me. Severe enough that traditional methods don't work, and I'm too far behind to catch up at this point. He takes the book back, running his fingers over the cover. So, I find other ways. I listen, I memorize, I surround myself with people I trust to be my eyes when I need them. Is that why you tested me? I ask, understanding clicking into place. You need people you can trust. People who won't mock you for needing help. Partially. But also because I've learned that how someone treats me when they think I'm illiterate tells me everything I need to know about their character. Kindness in that moment, when you could easily judge or dismiss me, is worth more than anything else someone could offer. His eyes meet mine, intense and searching. And you, Sophie Winters, showed me more kindness in 5 minutes than most people manage in a lifetime. The weight of his words settles over me, and I realize this isn't just about protection from Marcus. This is about 2 people who have been made to feel less than, who have carried shame they didn't deserve, finding recognition in each other. I want to help you, I hear myself say. Not because I pity you or think you need fixing, but because you love books, and you should be able to experience them however works for you. I could read to you. We could go through your favorites together, and you could hear them in a voice you. I trail off, suddenly self-conscious. Sorry, that's presumptuous. You probably have people who, I would love that. His voice is thick with emotion. More than you know. The moment stretches between us, charged with possibility. Then my phone buzzes again, shattering the intimacy. Another text from Marcus. I see you're not at your little friend's apartment anymore. Running won't help, Sophie. I'll find you. The fear comes crashing back, cold and sharp. Dante sees my expression change and takes the phone from my trembling hands. He reads the message, his jaw tightening, then makes a call. Vincent. The subject is actively tracking her movements. I want to full sweep her phone, her belongings, everything. There's probably a tracker somewhere. He pauses, listening. Yes, now. And I want to know how he found her in the first place. Pull his financials, his phone records, his associates. I want to know everyone he's talked to in the past month. He hangs up and turns back to me. Vincent will check your things for tracking devices. Marcus must have planted something, or he has someone watching Maya's building. Either way, we'll find out. This is insane. I press my hands to my face, trying to process. I just wanted to start over, to be safe. How did it get this complicated? Because men like Marcus don't let go of control easily. They see you as property, and they'll burn everything down rather than accept that you have autonomy. Dante's voice is hard, but his touch is gentle as he pulls my hands from my face. But here's what he doesn't understand. You're not alone anymore. He's not dealing with a frightened woman trying to hide. He's dealing with me. And I don't lose. The certainty in his words should sound arrogant, but instead it sounds like a promise. A vow. Before I can respond, Vincent appears at the door with a small device in his hand. Found it in the lining of her bag, sir. Professional grade tracker, probably placed when she was at work. It's been active for 3 days. 3 days. Since right after Dante's first visit to the restaurant. Marcus must have been following me, watching, waiting for his moment. The violation of it makes my skin crawl. Destroy it. Dante orders. And trace the purchase. I want to know where he got it and what else he might have access to. Vincent disappears, and I'm left feeling exposed and vulnerable. He's been following me for days, watching me go to work, go home, watching me meet you. The implications hit me, and horror floods through. Dante, if he saw me get into your car, if he knows I'm with you, he might try something stupid, Dante finishes. But there's no fear in his voice, only cold calculation. Good. Let him come. Let him make the mistake of thinking he can take you back. It will give me the opportunity to make very clear that you are under my protection, and what happens to people who threaten what's mine. The possessiveness in his words should bother me, should trigger all my hard-won instincts about controlling men. But there's a crucial difference I'm learning to recognize. Dante isn't claiming ownership of me. He's claiming responsibility for my safety. It's protection, not possession. Guardianship, not control. What happens now? I ask, exhausted by the emotional whiplash of the day. Now, I show you to your room, you rest. And tomorrow, we make a plan. He stands, offering his hand. Come on. You look dead on your feet. He leads me up a sweeping staircase to the second floor, down a hallway lined with more bookshelves and original art. He stops at a door and opens it to reveal a bedroom that's bigger than Maya's entire living room. A 4-poster bed dominates the space, made up with what looks like expensive linens. There's a fireplace, a sitting area, an ensuite bathroom visible through another door. This is yours for as long as you need it, Dante says, setting my bag on a bench at the foot of the bed. The bathroom is stocked with everything you should need, but if I missed anything, just ask. There's a phone on the nightstand, just dial 0 and it reaches Vincent or whoever's on duty. They'll get you anything you need. Where's your room? The question comes out before I can stop it, and heat floods my face. I mean, just in case. You know, if something happens. 2 doors down. His eyes are warm with amusement at my embarrassment. And Sophie? Nothing is going to happen tonight. You're safe here. The house has a full security system, guards at every entrance, and I'm a very light sleeper. Try to rest. He moves toward the door, and I surprise myself by calling out, Dante? He turns, one hand on the doorframe. Yeah? Thank you. For all of this. For believing me. For protecting me. For... I trail off, not sure how to articulate the gratitude swelling in my chest. Just thank you. His expression softens into something that makes my heart skip. Get some sleep, Sophie. We'll figure everything out in the morning. The door closes behind him, and I'm alone in this beautiful room that feels like something from a dream. I should unpack, should shower, should do any number of practical things. Instead, I sink onto the edge of the bed and let myself process everything that's happened. 24 hours ago, I was sleeping on Maya's couch, serving tables, trying to save money for a future that felt impossibly distant. Now I'm in the home of a man I barely know, being hunted by the ex I thought I'd escaped, and feeling things I definitely shouldn't feel this soon after everything I've been through. But when I finally change into my pajamas and slide between sheets that feel like clouds, when I turn off the light and stare at the ceiling in the darkness, it's not fear that keeps me awake. It's the memory of Dante's voice when he talked about books he can't read, the vulnerability in his eyes when he explained his test, the way his arms felt around me when I cried. It's the dangerous realization that I'm not just accepting his protection. I'm starting to want his presence, his conversation, his attention, him. And that terrifies me more than anything Marcus could do. The next morning, I wake to sunlight streaming through windows I forgot to cover, and the smell of coffee wafting from somewhere downstairs. For a moment, I'm disoriented, unsure where I am. Then memory floods back, and I sit up quickly, heart racing. My phone shows 9 missed calls from Maya and a string of increasingly worried texts. Guilt swamps me. I should have called her. Last night. Should have explained where I went. I dial her number, and she answers before the first ring finishes. Sophie. Oh my God, where are you? I came home and you were gone, your stuff was gone, and I've been losing my mind. I'm okay. I interrupt quickly. I'm safe. I'm sorry I didn't call last night. Everything happened so fast. What happened? Where are you? Her voice is tight with worry and barely suppressed anger. I take a breath and explain everything. Marcus's texts, the tracker in my bag, calling Dante, coming to his house. As I talk, I hear her shock transforming into something else. Not anger exactly, but concern. Sophie, she says carefully when I finish. I get that you were scared, but you barely know this guy. How do you know you can trust him? It's the question I've been asking myself since I got in Vincent's car yesterday. I don't know, I admit. Not for certain. But Maya, Marcus found me. Even after 6 months of being careful, even with the restraining order, he found me. And Dante has resources I don't, security I can't afford. What else was I supposed to do? She's quiet for a moment. I just don't want you jumping from one bad situation into another. Men who offer protection like this, who have that kind of power they usually want something in return. He says he doesn't. Says my safety isn't conditional on anything. And you believe him? Do I? I think about the way Dante apologized for testing me, the way he opened up about his illiteracy, the respect he's shown even when I was at my most vulnerable. Yeah, I say slowly. I think I do. Maya sighs, but I can hear acceptance in it. Okay, but Sophie, if anything feels wrong, if he tries to control you or manipulate you, you call me immediately. I don't care who he is or what he can do. You call me, and I'll come get you. The love in her words makes my eyes sting. I will. I promise. Thank you for having my back. Always. That's what sisters do. She pauses. And, Sophie, be careful with your heart, okay? You've been through hell. Don't let a handsome face and a hero complex make you forget that. After we hang up, I shower and dress in jeans and a sweater, then follow the smell of coffee downstairs. I find Dante in the kitchen, which is somehow both modern and cozy, all stainless steel appliances and warm wood tones. He's at the stove, making what looks like scrambled eggs, dressed casually in jeans and a dark Henley that makes him look younger, more approachable. Morning, he says when he sees me, a smile transforming his face. Coffee's fresh. Mugs are in the cabinet above the pot. I pour myself a cup, grateful for something to do with my hands. You cook? I have many hidden talents. He plates the eggs along with toast and fresh fruit, setting everything on the kitchen island. Sit, eat. We have a lot to discuss. I climb onto one of the bar stools, and he takes the one next to me, close enough that I can feel his warmth but not crowding my space. The eggs are perfectly fluffy, seasoned just right, and I realize I haven't eaten since lunch yesterday. Vincent traced Marcus's phone records, Dante says, diving straight into business. He's been making calls to a private investigator, spending significant money to find you. The PI is the one who located Maya's apartment, probably through employment records or mutual friends. My appetite disappears. How much money? Enough that it's clear he's obsessed. This isn't just about ego or control anymore, Sophie. He's fixated. Dante's expression is serious. Men like this, when they reach this level of obsession, they become dangerous, unpredictable. So, what do? The eggs sit heavy in my stomach. We control the situation. I've already had my people reach out to the PI, made it clear that further assistance to Marcus would be extremely unwise. That's one avenue closed. He pulls out his phone, showing me a photo of a man I recognize with a sickening jolt. Marcus, getting out of his car, unaware he's being photographed. My security team has eyes on him. He's currently staying at a hotel in Lakeview, spending his days driving around the neighborhoods where you work and live. The thought of him out there, searching for me, makes my skin crawl. Can't we just have him arrested? For violating the restraining order? For what? He hasn't contacted you directly, except by text, and he hasn't come within the 500 feet specified in your order. Legally, he hasn't violated anything yet. Dante's jaw tightens with frustration. The system is designed to react to violations, not prevent them. By the time he breaks the law enough to be arrested, you could be hurt. So we just wait? Hope he gives up? The helplessness in my voice mirrors the helplessness I feel. No. Dante sets down his coffee, turning to face me fully. We make him understand that pursuing you is more dangerous than letting you go. We show him what happens when you threaten someone under my protection. There's something dark in his eyes. Something that reminds me he's not just a successful businessman with security. He's connected to a world I don't fully understand, where problems are solved in ways the law doesn't allow. What does that mean? I ask carefully. It means I have a conversation with him. A private one, where I explain the situation and the consequences of continuing this obsession. His voice is calm, almost conversational, but there's steel underneath. I can be very persuasive when I need to be. I should be horrified, should be protesting that violence isn't the answer, that we need to work within the system. But I think about 6 months of looking over my shoulder, of jumping at every unexpected sound, of the bruises that finally faded from my skin but not from my memory. I think about the fear in Marcus's texts, the control he's trying to reassert, the danger Dante says he represents. Will you hurt him? The question comes out smaller than I intend. Dante considers this carefully. I will do what's necessary to ensure he never comes near you again. That might mean hurting him, yes. But Sophie, I need you to understand something. He takes my hand, his grip warm and steady. I'm not going to kill him or disappear him or anything that will traumatize you or put you in legal jeopardy. I'm going to have a conversation that makes very clear what happens if he continues down this path. Think of it as aggressive negotiation. And if he doesn't listen, if he's too obsessed to be scared, then we escalate. But most men, when confronted with real consequences, real power that outmatches their own, they back down. They're bullies, and bullies fold when they face someone stronger. His eyes search mine. Do you trust me to handle this the right way? It's a loaded question. Trusting him to handle Marcus means accepting that Dante operates outside the law, that he'll use methods I can't fully know about or control. It means relinquishing my own agency in favor of his protection. It goes against everything I learned about independence and self-reliance. But it also means not being afraid anymore. It means someone powerful enough to actually stop Marcus standing between us. It means sleeping through the night without nightmares, working without constantly checking over my shoulder, living instead of just surviving. Yes, I say finally, I trust you. Relief and something deeper crosses his face. He brings my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that sends warmth spiraling through me. Thank you. I won't abuse that trust, Sophie. I promise. The moment stretches between us, charged with possibility. Then his phone buzzes, shattering the intimacy. He glances at it, his expression darkening. What is it? I ask, anxiety spiking. Marcus just showed up at Lombardi's. He's asking the staff about you, showing your photo, getting aggressive. Dante's already moving, grabbing his jacket. Vincent, bring the car around, he calls out. I'm coming with you. I stand, but Dante shakes his head. No, absolutely not. That's exactly what he wants to draw you out, to force a confrontation where he has some control. But, no buts. His voice is firm, leaving no room for argument. You stay here where it's safe. Vincent's team will handle this. I'll handle this. He cups my face, his touch gentle despite his commanding tone. Trust me, remember? I want to argue, want to insist on being part of my own protection. But I can see the determination in his eyes, the professional efficiency he's shifting into. This is his world, his expertise. And as much as I want agency, I'm smart enough to recognize when I'm out of my depth. Okay, I concede. But you call me as soon as it's handled. And Dante? Please be careful. His expression softens. I'm always careful. Stay inside. Don't answer the door for anyone except my people. And try not to worry. This will be over soon. He's gone before I can respond, leaving me alone in this beautiful house with nothing to do but wait and worry. I try to distract myself, exploring the first floor, examining the books on his shelves. Despite his illiteracy, or maybe because of it, Dante's collection is extensive and diverse. Classic literature, contemporary fiction, history, philosophy. I pull down Pride and Prejudice, one of my favorites, and settle on the couch in his study. But the words blur together, my mind too occupied with what's happening at Lombardi's. Is Marcus causing a scene? Is Dante being careful? What does handling it actually mean? An hour crawls by, then another. My phone stays silent. I text Maya, letting her know what's happening, and she responds with a string of worried emojis and a promise to check in later. I try to read, try to watch TV, try to do anything except imagine worst-case scenarios. Finally, after 3 hours that feel like 3 years, the front door opens. I'm off the couch and in the foyer before I can think better of it, my heart in my throat. Dante walks in, followed by Vincent. There's blood on Dante's knuckles, and his jaw is tight with barely contained anger, but he seems otherwise unharmed. Relief floods through me so powerfully that my knees almost buckle. What happened? I demand. Are you okay? Is it over? I'm fine. He goes straight to the kitchen sink, washing the blood off his hands with practiced efficiency. And yes, it's over. Marcus won't be bothering you again. The flatness in his voice worries me more than anger would. Dante, what did you do? He dries his hands carefully, then turns to face me. I had a conversation, a thorough one. I explained that you are under my protection, that any further attempts to contact or find you would be met with severe consequences. I provided visual aids to demonstrate my commitment to your safety. Visual aids, I repeat slowly. I broke his nose and 2 fingers. Dante's voice is matter of fact, clinical. I also showed him documentation of every illegal thing he's ever done: tax fraud, unreported income, some interesting business dealings with people who wouldn't appreciate police attention. I explained that should he continue his obsession with you, All of that information goes to the appropriate authorities. And I introduced him to some associates who made very clear what would happen if the legal route didn't deter him. My stomach twists with a complicated mix of emotions. Horror at the violence, relief that Marcus is finally scared enough to stop, guilt that someone got hurt because of me, gratitude that Dante was willing to go that far. Did he agree? I ask. To leave me alone? He agreed very enthusiastically once I broke the second finger. Dante crosses to me, his expression softening when he sees my face. Sophie, I know this isn't how you wanted it handled. I know you'd prefer some neat legal solution where everyone plays by the rules. But men like Marcus don't respect rules or courts or pieces of paper. They respect power and consequences. Now he understands both. Will he go to the police? Say you assaulted him? No. Because doing so would require him to explain why. And that explanation would expose all the leverage I have on him. He's trapped, and he knows it. The smartest thing he can do is cut his losses and move on. Dante takes my hands, his grip gentle despite the violence those hands just committed. You're free, Sophie. Actually, truly free. He can't hurt you anymore. The words break something open inside me. 6 months of fear, of looking over my shoulder, of wondering when he'd find me. And now it's over. Just like that. Because Dante Moretti decided I deserved protection and followed through without hesitation. I don't know what to say, I whisper. You don't have to say anything. He pulls me against his chest, and I let myself lean into his strength. You don't owe me gratitude for doing what any decent person would do. But we both know that's not true. Most decent people would have called the police and washed their hands of it. Most decent people wouldn't have broken fingers and threatened a man with exposure to protect a waitress they barely knew. What Dante did goes far beyond decency into something darker, more dangerous, more intensely personal. What happens now? I ask against his chest, feeling his heartbeat steady beneath my ear. Now you decide what you want. You can go back to Maya's apartment, back to your life. Marcus is no longer a threat, so you don't need my protection anymore. His arms tighten around me slightly. Or you can stay. Not because you're afraid, not because you need saving, but because you want to. Because we both want to see where this goes. I pull back to look at him, seeing vulnerability in his eyes that mirrors what I'm feeling. And if I stay, what does that mean? It means we take our time. We get to know each other properly, without fear and desperation driving every decision. It means I read you books you love, and you help me understand them in ways I couldn't alone. It means dinners and conversations and seeing if what we feel is real or just adrenaline and proximity. He cups my face, his thumb tracing my cheekbone. It means I court you the way you deserve, Sophie. With patience and respect, and no pressure to be anything other than yourself. The honesty in his words, the clear delineation between protection and possession, makes my decision easier than it should be. I should probably go back to Maya's. Should take time to process everything that's happened. Should be more cautious after everything I've been through. But I think about the way he apologized for testing me, the way he shared his deepest shame without hesitation, the way he asked for my trust and earned it with actions. I think about the books lining his walls and the longing in his voice when he talks about stories he can't fully access. I think about how he makes me feel safe without making me feel small, protected without being possessed. I want to stay, I say, the words feeling like a leap off a cliff into unknown water. Not because I'm afraid or because I need you, but because I want to know you better, want to see if this feeling is real. His smile is like sunrise, transforming his entire face. Yeah, I smile back, feeling lighter than I have in years. But Dante, I need you to understand something. I just got out of a relationship where I lost myself, where I let someone else's needs and wants consume who I was. I can't do that again. Ever. I would never ask you to. His voice is fierce with conviction. Sophie, what I want is for you to be more yourself, not less. I want you to finish your degree, chase your dreams, become everything you were meant to be. And I want to be there supporting you, not controlling you or holding you back. And your world? I ask carefully. The parts that aren't exactly legal? I need to know what I'm getting into. He's quiet for a moment, choosing his words with care. I won't lie to you. My business operates in gray areas that would make you uncomfortable if you look too closely. I have power that comes with responsibility and sometimes requires difficult decisions, but I will never involve you in anything illegal, never put you in danger, never ask you to compromise your ethics for my benefit. Can you accept that there are parts of my life you might not want to know about? It's a fair question, and I appreciate his honesty. I think about Marcus's broken fingers, about the associates Dante mentioned, about the casual way he talks about leverage and consequences. There's a darkness in his world that I've only glimpsed, and I'll probably never see the full extent of it. But I also know that darkness kept me safe when the law couldn't. That his willingness to operate outside the rules gave me freedom I couldn't find within them. And that the man in front of me, for all his power and danger, treats me with more respect than men who claim to love me ever did. I can accept it, I say finally. As long as you promise to always be honest with me, even when the truth is difficult. I promise. He seals it with a kiss, soft and gentle, asking rather than demanding. I respond, rising on my toes to deepen it, and feel him smile against my lips. When we finally break apart, both breathing harder, he rests his forehead against mine. I should mention that I've already enrolled you at Northwestern for the spring semester. Full tuition paid, all fees covered, books and supplies included. I jerk back, shock and anger flashing through me. You what? Dante, you can't just, I can and I did. He holds up a hand before I can launch into a full argument. Before you get angry, know that I did it because education matters to you, and you deserve to finish what you started. It's a gift with no strings attached. If you decide tomorrow that you don't want to be with me, the enrollment stands. Your education isn't contingent on our relationship. The anger falters, replaced by something complicated. That's incredibly presumptuous. Yes, it is. He doesn't look remotely apologetic. I'm a man used to solving problems with money and power. Sometimes I forget that not everyone wants their problems solved for them. If you want me to cancel it, I will. But Sophie, please, let me do this one thing. Let me help you get back something that was taken from you. I want to refuse on principle, want to insist on my independence. But the truth is, I couldn't afford Northwestern on my own, not for years of saving if ever. And he's right that my education matters to me, that having it ripped away was one of the deepest wounds Marcus left. Spring semester? I ask, my resistance crumbling. Starts in 3 weeks. I took the liberty of having my assistant contact the registrar's office. Your credits are still good, and you can resume where you left off. He's trying not to smile, seeing my defenses falling. There's an English literature seminar on American modernism that has an opening. I thought you might be interested. Despite myself, I laugh. You're impossible. I've been told. He pulls me close again and I let him, feeling the last of my resistance fade. So, you'll accept? You'll let me give you this? On one condition. I look up at him, suddenly serious. I read to you every book in this library that you want to experience. We do it together, your gift for mine. The emotion that crosses his face takes my breath away. Joy and gratitude, and something deeper that neither of us is ready to name yet. Deal, he says, his voice rough. When do we start? Right now. I take his hand, leading him back to the study where Pride and Prejudice still lies open on the couch. This is one of my favorites. I think you'll love it. We settle on the couch, and he pulls me against his side, his arm around my shoulders. I open the book to the first page and begin to read, my voice filling the quiet study. It is a truth universally acknowledged, that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. Dante laughs, the sound warm and genuine. Austen was a savage. Just wait, I say, grinning. It gets better. I read for an hour, then 2, my voice occasionally pausing to explain context or discuss character motivations. Dante listens with complete attention, asking thoughtful questions, making observations that show he's not just hearing the words but truly understanding the story. When I finally stop, throat dry and voice tired, he looks at me with such open affection that it makes my heart skip. Thank you, he says simply. That was perfect. We'll do it again tomorrow, and the day after, as long as you want. I close the book, marking our place. I have 3 weeks before classes start. We have time. Time, he repeats, like the word is precious. I like the sound of that. That night, I sleep in the guest room again, but this time it feels less like refuge and more like choice. This time I'm not here because I'm running from something, but because I'm running toward something, toward possibility and connection and the dangerous hope that maybe, just maybe, I can trust again. Over the next 3 weeks, we fall into a routine that feels both surreal and surprisingly natural. Mornings I work at Lombardi's, insisting on keeping my job despite Dante's protests that I don't need to. The money isn't the point, I tell him. The independence is. He doesn't argue, just makes sure Vincent or another guard is always nearby, watching without interfering. Afternoons I spend preparing for classes, refreshing my knowledge, getting back into the academic mindset I'd been forced to abandon. Dante provides a study in his house, fills it with supplies, gives me space to work without hovering. Evenings are ours. Sometimes we go out, to quiet restaurants or art galleries or concerts. Other times we stay in, and I read to him from his extensive library. We work through Pride and Prejudice, then move on to Kill a Mockingbird, then The Great Gatsby. Each book becomes an excuse for long conversations about themes and character and the human condition. He tells me about growing up poor, about his mother's struggles and early death, about the foster system that failed him, and the streets that taught him to survive. I tell him about my own childhood, about parents who fought more than they loved, about finding refuge in books and education, about the slow erosion of self that happened with Marcus. We share our shames and fears and dreams, building intimacy through vulnerability and time, and slowly, so slowly I barely notice it happening, I stop flinching when he moves quickly. Stop assuming anger in his silences. Stop waiting for the other shoe to drop, for him to reveal that this kindness is just another form of control. Because it's not. He proves it every day in small ways. By respecting my need for space, by celebrating my successes without taking credit, by asking my opinion and actually listening to my answer, by being patient with my healing and never pushing for more than I'm ready to give. On the night before my first day of classes, we're in his study, finishing the last chapter of Jane Eyre. I close the book and look at him, finding him watching me with an expression that makes my breath catch. "What?" I ask, suddenly self-conscious. "I love you," he says, the words simple and direct. I know it's fast. I know you might not be ready to hear it, but I needed to say it. You've given me something I didn't think I could have. Acceptance, understanding, partnership. You see me, Sophie. All of me, including the parts I was taught to hide, and I love you for it. My heart hammers against my ribs, fear and joy warring inside me. It is fast, too fast by any reasonable measure. But there's nothing reasonable about what we've built, about the intensity of what we share. I love you too, I hear myself say, and realize it's true. Somewhere between the fear and the books and the quiet conversations, I fell in love with this complicated, damaged, surprisingly gentle man. I didn't think I could feel this way again. Didn't think I could trust someone with my heart, but you've proven yourself every single day, Dante. You've earned this. He pulls me into his lap, his arms wrapping around me, and kisses me with a thoroughness that makes my toes curl. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, he presses his forehead to mine. "Move in with me," he says. "Not because you need protection, not because you can't afford your own place, but because I want to wake up every morning with you here, because I want to fall asleep listening to you read, because I love you and I want to build a life with you." "Yes," I say without hesitation, surprising myself with my certainty. "Yes, I'll move in with you." His smile is radiant, transforming his entire face. "Yeah? Yeah." I cup his face, feeling the scruff of his jaw against my palms. "On one condition. Name it. We take things at my pace. I know you want more, and I want that too eventually. But I need to finish my degree, establish my independence, prove to myself that I can stand on my own even while choosing to be with you." "Done," he says immediately. "Sophie, I meant what I said. I want you to be more yourself, not less. Your success doesn't diminish me. It enhances both of us." And looking into his eyes, seeing the sincerity there, I believe him. I believe in this. In us. In the possibility that two broken people can find healing together. The next morning, he drives me to campus for my first day back. I'm nervous, my hands trembling slightly as I gather my new backpack and laptop. He parks and turns to me, taking my hand. "You're going to be brilliant," he says with absolute conviction. "And tonight, you're going to come home and tell me everything you learned, and I'm going to love hearing about it." Home. The word settles into my chest, warm and right. "I'll be back by 6. We can make dinner together. It's a date." He leans over and kisses me gently. "Go show them what you're made of, Sophie Winters. Show them what I already know, that you're extraordinary." I walk onto campus with my head high, my heart full, and my future spread before me like an open book. I'm not the broken woman who left here 2 years ago. I'm not the fearful victim hiding from her past. I'm Sophie, rebuilt and stronger, claiming back what was taken and creating something new. That evening, I burst through the front door, my first day back an overwhelming success. Dante's in the kitchen, attempting to cook something that smells both ambitious and possibly dangerous. I drop my bag and launch myself at him, and he catches me easily, spinning us around. "I take it the day went well?" he asks, grinning. It was perfect. The professor loved my input, I made a study group, and Dante. I pull back to look at him, joy bubbling up. I remembered why I love this, why stories matter, why this was always what I was meant to do. "Tell me everything," he says, setting me down but keeping his arms around me. "Don't leave anything out." So I do. Over dinner that's slightly burned but delicious anyway. I tell him about the seminar discussion on Hemingway, about the essay assignment that already has my mind spinning with ideas, about the professor who welcomed me back without judgment or questions about why I'd left. And he listens with complete attention, asking questions, celebrating my excitement, making me feel seen and valued in ways that have nothing to do with his money or power, and everything to do with simply caring about what matters to me. Later, curled up on the couch with my head on his chest, and his fingers playing with my hair, I think about how far I've come. From the woman who could barely escape her apartment to the woman who walked confidently through university halls. From the server too afraid to make eye contact to the person reading literature to a man who never learned how. "What are you thinking about?" Dante asks, feeling me smile against his chest. "Happy endings," I say. "I used to think they were just in books, just fiction. But maybe they're real after all." "This isn't an ending," he corrects gently. "It's a beginning. We're writing our own story now, Sophie. And I can't wait to see where it goes." I tilt my head up to kiss him, slow and sweet and full of promise. "Me neither," I whisper against his lips. "Me neither." 6 months later, I'm standing in front of Northwestern's English department, defending my senior thesis on the power of narrative voice in 20th century American literature. The panel of professors listens intently as I present my arguments, and when I finish, they actually applaud. "Excellent work, Miss Winters," the department chair says. "You should be very proud. This is graduate-level analysis." Afterward, I walk out of the building and find Dante waiting, leaning against his car with a bouquet of flowers that makes me laugh because it's so absurdly large. When he sees me, his face breaks into that smile I love, and I run to him. "How did it go?" he asks, catching me up in his arms. "I think I nailed it," I say, grinning so hard my face hurts. "They loved it, Dante. They actually loved it. Of course they did. I read it to you enough times to know it's brilliant." He kisses me thoroughly, not caring that we're in public, that students are walking past us grinning. "I'm so proud of you, Sophie. Your mother would be proud too." My mother. We reconciled 3 months ago, tentatively rebuilding a relationship damaged by years of her looking the other way while I suffered. She's in therapy now, working through her own trauma, and we're learning how to be in each other's lives healthily. Dante made that possible too, offering to pay for her treatment when she couldn't afford it, giving us both the tools to heal. "What do you say we celebrate?" he asks, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. "Dinner anywhere you want, no expense spared." "Actually," I say, sliding my arms around his neck, "I was thinking we could stay in. I have a new book I want to read to you." His eyes light up with that particular joy that never fails to make my heart skip. "What book?" "It's a surprise, but I think you'll love it. It's about second chances and redemption and how love can heal even the deepest wounds." "Sounds perfect," he says, and I know he's not just talking about the book. We drive home through Chicago's evening traffic, his hand linked with mine, both of us comfortable in the silence that comes from truly knowing someone. Home isn't just his house anymore. We've made it ours, filled it with my books, and his patience, my ambition, and his support, building something neither of us expected, but both of us needed. That night, curled up in our favorite spot in the study, I read to him about love found and lost and found again. About characters who thought they were broken, learning they were just bent, waiting for the right person to help them straighten. About the healing power of being seen, truly seen, by someone who looks past the scars to the person underneath. And when I close the book, Dante pulls me close and whispers, "That's us." That's our story. Yeah, I agree, kissing him softly. That's our story. And it's only just beginning. Because that's the thing about real love, real healing, real transformation. It's not instant or easy or simple. It's built in quiet moments and patient days, in vulnerability shared and trust earned. It's choosing to see someone's struggles and responding with compassion instead of judgment. It's being brave enough to accept help when you need it, and strong enough to stand on your own when you can. It's a man who couldn't read asking for patience, and a woman who'd been made to feel stupid offering kindness without hesitation. It's both of them learning that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in self-sufficiency, but in the courage to be vulnerable with someone worthy of that trust. And as I drift off to sleep that night, safe in Dante's arms, I think about the terrified woman who served him risotto 6 months ago. She could never have imagined this future. But she made the choice that started it all, the simple decision to treat someone with dignity when she could have judged him instead. One small act of kindness, and it changed everything. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.